Hi everyone, my name is Nadine Gilkison, and today I'm going to be giving you a PD called Today Years Old Chromebook Edition. And during our time together, I'm going to be covering different ways that you can use a Chromebook that you may not know, including a lot of shortcuts and different things about it. Just to give you a little background about myself, I am the District Tech Integration Supervisor for Franklin Township Schools located on the southeast side of Indianapolis, and this is going on my 10th year in the position. Prior to that, I was a classroom teacher who loved to use technology in the classroom. Just so you can know a little bit more about myself, on this slide I have 4 numbers that are listed and how they relate to me. So the number 4 actually is an indicator for 4 children that I have. My oldest is a sophomore at IU, and I have twins that are freshmen, and I have an 8th grader. I have the number 25 down in the lower corner there because this year my husband and I have been married for 25 years. The 20 up in the other corner there is actually representing how many pets that we have. And no, that seems really high, but we have chickens, and we have 2 dogs, and we have 4 outside barn cats. So we got a lot going on. The number that I'm really proud of is the one that's down in the lower right hand corner, and it's the 1.5, and that stands for 1.5 million. As part of being a Google innovator, we had to develop a project of a way of making education better in some way, and my project focus was on dyslexia, and I worked with a student at the high school level to create a blending board app that is completely free. So the 1.5 actually stands for 1.5 million downloads that we have had, and it's something that I'm really proud of. So kind of going over the topics of what we're going to be talking about today, I wanted you to know. So on this slide, you're going to notice basically the different facets of the Chromebook that we're going to be talking about. Several of these are features that you may or may not realize that a Chromebook can do. So we've got select to speak, magnification options, some live captions, dictation, and some of the newer ones are reading mode and screencast. So before we jump into those, I always like to make sure that everybody is aware of different resources that you can use if you have Chromebooks in your district. So I'm going to open up a few of these files. One of the most important things that I wanted people to know is that if you are not aware, there's actually a Chromebook simulator out there. So I've already clicked on this, and I'm going to open it up here. If you're trying to figure out how to do anything on a Chromebook, it's actually going to walk you through step by step. If you need to know how to connect it, printing, exploring the accessibility features, how you turn them on. It actually has the image of the Chromebook, and it's going to walk you step by step through that. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that the simulator is out there. I think it's good for teachers to know that. We'll come back to a keyboard image and shortcuts, because both of these files actually go into the Chromebook shortcuts for littles. Now, I've done this presentation several times, and it's not, honestly, it's not just for littles. It's really for anybody that's learning how to use a Chromebook. So I wanted to walk you through some advice that I've given, and also some teachers within my district. So the first thing that I discovered was that teachers were coming to me and they were saying, hey, I want to be able to show a kid how to find something on the Chromebook keyboard, but the problem is that they were actually taking the Chromebook and trying to put it under a document camera or something like that. And so I love to do graphic design, so I offered for the teachers to go ahead and create a graphic of the keyboard itself. So that's what you see actually on this presentation, but down at the bottom, I wanted you guys to know that you can actually get the original file. I'll go ahead and click on it there. It's taking just a second. Oh goodness. And now we can see the image. So basically this whole image is here. I created it inside of Google Drawings, but what I wanted you to know is that it is a transparent image, but if you need to get to the actual source of the image itself, I wanted you to have a link to that. So after we kind of went over being able to show students where the items are on a keyboard, one of my kindergarten teachers talked about whether you use ClassLink or if you use Clever, either one of those tools, it allows the students to log on to a Chromebook quickly. And a lot of those will have some type of little badge that the kid is going to hold up in front of the camera on the Chromebook. So I happened to be in a kindergarten teacher's classroom, and she mentioned something about getting their login keys. And so she talks about, hey, you're getting ready to start up your Chromebook. And so I loved that notion of having something that's like a login key, especially for littles. So that's one avenue of ways to help you on that Chromebook. If you're not using something like that and you want to be able to teach students an easy way to get to Google Classroom, to get to what you need, having different names for things within Google helps too. So I always would tell kids, look for the beach ball and tap on the beach ball, look for the tiny waffle, and then they can tap on what it is that they're looking for. Lastly, along that same line, if you have a Chromebook, you can also indicate for it to be on that docking taskbar there that's at the bottom of the Chromebook. That's what you're seeing right here. So when you create that shortcut, it's going to automatically have it down at the bottom of the Chromebook, so that way the student can immediately get into it. Okay? The next one that I wanted to tell you is doing a 2-finger tap or a 2-finger touch on a Chromebook can be difficult for students. And so using that technique of doing what we call like a cobra click, and that's because you have 2 fingers up and they're arched just a little bit. And when you're gonna tap it, it's kind of like that it's the cobra that's actually clicking that touchpad. Again, Megan Bang's great kindergarten teacher that gave that tip, and it's been so resourceful. And again, whenever I've done this PD numerous times, I have teachers that then say, oh my gosh, like, why didn't I think of that? And they get out a Chromebook so that way they know that. Another common one is when you need to scroll on a Chromebook and knowing how to do that. So she uses the 2 fingers again, but she calls it a back scratcher. And so it's because you're gliding on that touchpad and you're not pushing down really hard. So getting that concept across is really helpful. Another tip, whenever you're on a Chromebook, whenever you want to highlight something, I often have kids and adults saying, oh, it's just so hard to highlight. And that's because people are trying to, like drag across the touchpad, and just knowing some of these quick little tips really helps people out. So if you want to highlight a word, then you just double tap on the word. If you want to highlight that entire paragraph, then you can just triple tap, and then it's going to highlight the whole thing. All right, so that's another tip for you. Layering objects is huge for people to understand how to layer objects. If I want to send something to the front, holding down Control-Shift and the up arrow is going to do that. Now, I will tell you that when I designed these slides, I actually went out to kindergarten and first grade classrooms, and I had all the kids on a Chromebook, and I was teaching them how to do these strategies, because I kept saying to teachers, what are the most common things that you want kids to know how to do on a Chromebook? So on the layering, doing that Control-Shift and up arrow, then I asked the kids, I was like, okay, well, that's to send it to the front. How do you think we would send it to the back? And the kids all responded, the down arrow, which is on the next slide here. So again, if I want to be able to send something to the back. knowing how to undo something and teaching a kid, because quite often when they're in the middle of something, they'll do too many clicks at once and then they'll think that they have to restart the entire thing. But giving them that knowledge of the Control Z, and again, I tried to put this on the slide where they can see it in action. They see the buttons outlined in red, so that way the teacher can project it, and it should be easier for you to be able to teach them those things. Another common one is all caps. If you want students to type in all caps, people are always like, there's no caps lock. Well, you just need to know to hit Alt and that magnifying glass, or it may even say, like search in there as well, depending upon the type of Chromebook. So knowing how to do all caps is important. This one was pretty cool. So whenever younger grades are wanting to shut down the computer because they're done. Again, notice this in Megan Bang's class, and she was telling the kids, hey, it's time to put your Chromebook to bed, and the kids knew that if they hold down Control Shift and QQ, then it's going to shut everything down and then they can close the lid. And I literally, like when she said, okay, it's time for them to go to bed, then I could hear everybody saying, shh, quiet, and then they hit those buttons and closed the lid. It was so adorable to watch them do that. So kind of phase one is giving kids an understanding of what all of these different shortcuts are if they don't know. But then I also wanted them to be able to apply it. And that's where I came up with the art of learning to use a Chromebook. And we have like a second edition, which is Chromebook Essentials. So I'm just going to highlight those just so that you see what they're capable of. So this is the art of learning to use a Chromebook. So after you've kind of shown students how to do some of these features, I wanted them to practice it. Now, I didn't have this on the shortcuts per se, but a common thing that people ask all the time is, how does a student move an object on the screen? We know that they're using Google Slides a lot, and it's very tasking for a kid to be able to move something over because they're trying to push down on that touchpad. Again, another kindergarten teacher mentioned, oh, I just tell them to use the arrows. Just use the arrow keys, and it moves objects much easier. Now, I knew that it may not be me leading a lesson. Maybe the teacher needs the kid to review how to do some of these things. And I don't know about you, but when a kid can teach a kid how to do something, it's so much more impactful. They're going to listen to them because it's a peer in their eyes. So a few years ago, I drafted my own kids, and they did it willingly. I didn't make them. But my kids actually did the videos that you see that are listed on here. I'll give you just a little snippet.
And how you know that it is selected is there is a blue line and blue squares around it. And see these keys? If you hit it down more, then it moves a lot quicker.
Okay, so where do you need to move the dog?
You need to move the dog to the top.
So this lets you see just an example of my kids actually walking them through the process. So we talk about different ways that they can use the touchpad. We ask them to use the arrow keys in other fashions. Copying and pasting, you might think is impossible for a younger student to do, but you can do it. My son actually walks them through the different levels of becoming their own copy-paste ninja. One of the more popular activities that's on here is knowing how to grow and shrink images, because we've all seen the pictures of someone adding a clip art and then it's kind of wonky in there. And so knowing how you can actually resize things correctly and using, Control Alt and K to make the wizard bigger or smaller, being able to see those in action, kids really do learn a lot from it. So this one was so popular that teachers were asking if I had something that would be kind of a sequel that would give them even more practice. So we took the same common things that we wanted kids to learn how to do, and my same two daughters, and they'd grown up a little bit, so that's kind of like they've now begun to teach them how to do these more advanced trainings. And you're going to notice that I've layered in the images so that way students see how to do the activity. My kids are guiding them through the activity, and they've got different tasks that they can do. And again, this is for students to learn how to use the Chromebook. And again, I keep saying this, but it's also beneficial for adults as well. So I wanted you to see all of those different, pre-building understanding. I was in Texas recently, and I worked with several educators that said that their district was moving away from iPads and going to Chromebooks, and they were just so worried about what that transition was going to be like for their students. And by the time that I got done showing them all of these things, they felt much better and said, oh, this isn't going to be as big of a transition as what we had originally thought. So now let's dive into specific things that a Chromebook can do. And we are talking about accessibility in this aspect because when I think of it, a lot of times we may think that we have to have an additional tool to do something on a Chromebook in an accessibility fashion to help out a student, but people don't realize that those features are actually built into the Chromebook itself, and they're really good. So I want to make sure that people understand what they are and kind of where they are and what they are in action. So each time that I talk about these pieces, on the little nut icon there, that's kind of in a nutshell, what is it saying that you can do? So select to speak is going to only read portions of the text rather than, you might be familiar with Chromevox, and Chromevox has a very robotic sound to it, and it reads the entire thing on the page. So this actually focuses in on specific portions. So in addition to that, when you want to know how to activate it, on the Chromebook itself, it's actually going to walk you through, whoops, let me go back here. Let me click on there. It's going to take just a second here. And on select to speak, it's easier for me for this video for me to show you on the simulator. So down in the corner, it's going to have that activation, and we're going to be tapping onto settings. And then on accessibility, one thing that I tell people all the time is if you want to see the little accessibility guy in the corner of the Chromebook, whenever you go down to that little window down there, make sure that this is slid on. So it's always show accessibility options in the system menu. I don't know why they don't just have that on. I wish that it was, but if it's not, go ahead and slide it on. Under the accessibility section, it'll say manage accessibility features. And then in that part, then you've got enable select to speak. So then that is where you're going to turn it on. All right? So that way you can see what's on there. Okay? Now, again, remember I told you that shortcut of if you want to activate it once you've turned it on, because you don't need it on all the time, but when you are at a point that you're ready to use it, this keyboard shortcut is going to be the magnifying glass and S. So when I hit that and S, then it's going to activate it and it's going to read it out loud. Okay? I want you to see what it looks like in action. If you have known me for a while, you may already know this, but my daughter Mackenzie, who's featured in the presentation, Mackenzie is dyslexic. And so students with dyslexia are often going to need to have things read aloud, but not everything. They want to be able to select what they can read out loud. So I'm going to play this video clip so that Mackenzie can show you how she would use it.
Hi, I'm Nadine Gilkison.
And I'm Mackenzie Gilkison.
And today we're going to be showing you different ways to integrate Select to Speak in a classroom setting using a Chromebook. So Mackenzie, what are some of the shortcuts to remember?
When you want to highlight a word, you double tap on the touchpad. When you want to highlight the whole text, you want to triple tap on the touchpad.
Okay, so we're going to demonstrate really quickly on this slide first. So Mackenzie, why don't you show us if we wanted to have the word up at the top of the screen?
Only one word?
Yes, only one word.
So you want to double tap. Oh, wait, yeah, you have to click on it first. Then you have to double tap, and then you have to hit.
You have to hold down the search key and tap S.
Shortcuts.
Okay, pretty cool. So now demonstrate for us, what if you need that entire piece read aloud?
Well, then you hit it 3 times.
Okay, and then hold down search.
S.
Shortcuts to remember. Which is pretty cool. Okay, so we know that it works in that fashion, but let's see what that application looks like in different fashions here. So we're inside a Google Classroom, and let's say that the teacher has given you a lesson on Wednesday. So Mackenzie, show us how you could have Wednesday read aloud to you.
Since I have an assignment, I don't know what the word is, and I'll hit it 3 times. And then I'll hit the search bar, then S.
Wednesday, lesson 2.5 practice with powers of 10 assignment 2.5 HL.
Okay, now if you didn't realize this, so on the screen here we see that we have different options. So in other words, if Mackenzie wanted to change the speed of how fast that this is reading it out loud, then she has that option. If she wanted to play it again, she could hit play. It will also continue from where it left off, so you're not having to constantly highlight, just one area at a time. So this works anywhere with true type text. Let's try a couple other examples just so that they have an idea. So let's pretend like that your teacher has you reading an article from Time for Kids. I picked something from the SpaceX. So Mackenzie, on here, let's say that the teacher wants you to read this portion, and this time I want you to show us how you highlight the entire thing.
Well, how to highlight the entire thing is you want to hit it 1, 2, 3. Oh, right, yeah. There we go.
Quickly, yes.
And then you want to hit
Hold down search.
and then S.
After 3 days of orbiting the planet, the Inspiration 4 crew returned to Earth in the SpaceX Dragon capsule. On September 18th, the crew splashed down in the Atlantic Ocean off the Florida coast.
Pretty cool, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's show you one more example on here as well. So let's say that the teacher has given them an assignment that is in Google Slides. So we have in here an example of what they might be doing in class. Maybe she can't read the first slide and she's not sure what the topic is. So she's going to go in here and have it read.
Physical science.
Okay, and if she wanted the other parts read aloud too, then she could. Well, let's go to an actual assignment slide. All right, so Mackenzie, what would you do? So pretend you're in class and the teacher tells you that you're going to do this activity and you're on your own independently. What would you do to help you?
Well, I realized that it's really hard to read all those words because they're really small and it's really hard to see. So then I would just take my touchpad, go up to it, and I would hop on it to where you can see it, to where there's a little dot blinking. And then I would hit it 3 times, go to the search bar, and then go to the S.
Explain how the 4 key components of flight apply to paper airplanes. Start with the basic version, then select 2 other types to create. Analyze and compare the data from the 3 different types you select.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
All right, high five. Yeah.
And so as you can tell, it's a great use in the classroom, so Select to Speak is huge. I can tell you that one of the more recent updates with Select to Speak is the fact that it does not have the computer voice anymore. It has a more human-like voice. So I wanted to make sure that I let you know about that. So when we talk about magnification options, I want to make sure that everybody knows that there's, essentially 4 different ways that you can make a screen look larger on a Chromebook. The most common that everybody knows is Control plus is going to zoom in, Control minus is going to zoom out. When you want to make the entire screen larger, and that one is going to be, setting it up where you are activating it on that whole screen magnifier, and it's going to be Control, Search, and M. I can tell you that when I have done this training, and I've had teachers hit the 3 keys, which they're very nervous to hit the keys. They're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to mess up my Chromebook. And I'm like, as long as you know the shortcut, you're all good to go. We hit the 3 keys and their screen is magnified, but it looks like something crazy and they don't know how to fix it. And so every time I've done this PD, teachers get excited because now they realize that if a student, because I don't think a student's doing it intentionally, they've bumped across the keyboard and accidentally activated this, now a teacher knows how to fix it. So always remember Control Search M if it activates the whole screen magnifier. The other one is actually the dock screen magnifier, which when you activate this one, if you have a Chromebook while you're watching this video and you activate these keys, and don't forget, it'll be fine. You just hit the same 3 keys and it'll come back to normal. What this one does is it actually splits the screen into top is regular and the bottom half is magnified. And again, these are designed for students with blind or low vision so that they can use the Chromebook at a different capacity. But again, it's your best friend to remember how you can use that. As far as integration, one of the things that I can tell you is if you have a student that needs one of those options, I would show them that there are 4 different options. Have the student activate those different options in front of you and find out if there's one that works better for them. I went to our junior high when I was working on this presentation and showed the student the 4 different options. In a nutshell, when it came back to it, the student said, honestly, the easiest one for me is doing the Control plus, Control minus, and I was like, hey, whatever works for you. And that's what I want people to know, but I want them to be aware of all of the different options that are out there as well. So one of the updates with accessibility is live captions, and I've gotten so excited about that one. Basically what it does is it lets you have access with audio. It's going to give you those auto-generated live captions in real time. Think about when you're on a Google Meet, if you're watching a YouTube video, you see them there. And you might be thinking, well, then what's so cool about this? I don't understand the difference. I do have the directions on how to set it up. It is following a few steps, but I can tell you that once you turn it on, then turning it, you won't have to do this like every time. It's just sliding it on and off once it's activated. Where I truly feel like that you're going to see the magic of it is watching this video clip. So Mackenzie and I are going to show you.
Hi, I'm Nadine Gilkison.
And I'm Mackenzie Gilkison.
In this short video clip, we're going to be showing you how a student could use live captioning on a Chromebook for their classwork. So inside of here we have an example of a lesson that a teacher could give you. And this one is a pretty cool lesson because we're learning how to justify video-based evidence. So now what the student has to do is they have to watch the video and then explain with video text evidence. So when Mackenzie is going to tap play, go ahead and do that for us, Mackenzie.
But we have to have present mode.
Charles Osborne began to hiccup in 1922 after a hog fell on top of him. He wasn't cured until 68 years later and is now listed by Guinness.
So the cool part about this is that, yes, I know that YouTube has live captioning, but to me, the really cool part about this for a student is the fact that they could be inside of a slide deck and they can activate live captioning and they don't have to be taken out to another screen. you can be actively in your Google Slides and you can have the live captioning on there. So I don't know about you, but I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think you would use that?
Oh, yeah.
Would that help you to kind of follow along in class whenever you're listening to something?
Yeah, because I would read something and I wasn't 100% sure what she said, so then it would take me forever to go back and find whatever she said.
Okay. All right. So a pretty cool tip. I really like it.
So do I.
So one thing I did want to add on to that one with the live captions, I thought that it only worked on a Chromebook, but a side note, if you activate live captions, like right now I'm working on a PC as I'm talking to you, if I had a video come through, because I chose that I wanted live captions on, it also works on anything inside of Chrome. So to me, I think that's even cooler. I love that you can use it on a Chromebook, but I wanted people to know that I'm glad that Google is really trying hard to make these accessibility features available on any type of platform. Dictation. So we're used to seeing dictation, the voice to text. We're used to seeing it inside of Google Docs. That's where they really refined it for you to be able to use it. But I wanted you to know that they've now updated where you can do dictation in Google Slides, Sheets, Docs, Forms, any of those. So you activate dictation on that accessibility menu inside of your Chromebook, and it is a lot more robust. In this video clip, I'm going to show you where I'm sliding it on, and I'm going to show you how it is functioning in other ways.
Hi, I'm Nadine Gilkison, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to enable dictation on a Chromebook. So down in the lower corner of a Chromebook, you're going to see a little menu, and when I tap on that menu, then I see some options on here. I already have the accessibility icon that's already visible, but in case you don't, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So when I tap on it and I go out to settings, it's going to show me some options here. And where it says advanced, I'm then going to tap on accessibility. And I can slide this on where it shows the entire menu. Inside of that, I can then turn on enable dictation. Okay? So if you don't want to use that method and you want to have this already activated, you can simply see all of the choices, and then you can make sure that it is checkmarked.
So that's adding it. I wanted you guys to see, oh, there we go. When you hit search D, that's going to activate dictation. But in this clip, I wanted you to see how it works.
Hi, this is Nadine Gilkison, and I'm going to be showing you integration in action for Chromebook dictation. Dictation on a Chromebook has been around for a little while, but it is now expanded into being able to be used on different platforms. And I'm going to demonstrate what that looks like for you. So once you have dictation enabled, you're going to see in the lower right-hand corner of your Chromebook this little microphone. If you want to use it, which I'm going to start by demonstrating in some different uses here, I'm going to start out with Google Slides. So inside of Google Slides, let's say that a student wants to have, they're going to press that button and they want something that they're going to say out loud, and they want that to be able to be put onto the slide. Basically like the feature that you see in Google Docs. So to do this, make sure that the cursor is blinking inside of a text box, and now when I tap on it, it's going to be typing out whatever I say. You're going to be seeing it in like the upper left-hand corner. But once I'm done talking, it will then put it into the box. This blew my mind because in Google Docs you have this capability, but in Google Slides we only have this capability in the speaker notes. But what I wanted to definitely share with everyone today is that you can use this on the actual slide if you're using a Chromebook. But it's not just Google Slides.
So again, I'm in a Google form. Going to do the same process. The key here is making sure that you have the blinking cursor. So I have that, and let's say I was going to answer, the question is, what's my favorite food? My favorite food is pizza. Tap on it when you're done, and then it will add it in there. Now, just like using other tools, if I said the, if I said exclamation point, question mark, any of those things, it's going to capture the punctuation in there as well. So that's a test in Google Forms. I wanted to show you what it looks like in Google Classroom, same concept. Put it where you have the blinking cursor. I'm going to tap on it again. Welcome class. Today we're going to be focusing on triangles. When you're done, then it's going to directly add it in there. Let's say your district uses Canvas instead of Google Classroom. I wanted to make sure, because in our school district we utilize both. So if I'm a teacher, I'm showing you this part from a teacher end, but again, your students can use this too. Let's say you gave them a Canvas assignment and the student needs to respond to it. Anywhere inside of here that I want to, I can add, move myself here. Anywhere inside of here that I add the blinking line again, I can tap on that microphone and it's going to start to record anything that I say. Exclamation point. All right, so I don't know about you, but this one was a game changer to me. And as I said, I feel like I'm talking over myself, but that feature is huge, but I do want to make sure people realize that it's there, because they might not realize that it is actually out there. We have a couple more that we're going to talk about. So reading mode, this one is basically Google's version of what you would see when Microsoft does immersive reader. So it's a way for users to view a simplified version of a text in a sliding split screen. Okay, now when we see this, this is going to give you a little bit of an example here. When it's activated, let's go out to here. I wanted you guys to be able to see it. So when you tap on the little icon inside of Chrome, then the difference between their screen reader, their ability to clean up a page versus others, is the fact that typically when you use something like Immersive Reader, it will kick it out into a new tab. So you have the original text in one tab and you have the other one in a different tab. But the beauty of using reading mode is the fact that you have that slider bar. So I'm going to let it pull up and then I'm going to give you an example here. So I just paused it there. So the user has the ability to slide this bar as far over as what they want, because what if the image that goes with the article is pertinent, like they really need that to tie into what they're reading. Rather than having to toggle back and forth between tabs, they can actually see both. They do get all kinds of choices where they can make it a different font, a different color, the spacing, and so on. And I can tell you from personal experience that Google is working on adding some pretty cool additional features. They're just not ready to release them yet, but definitely take a look at reading mode. Okay, if you want to access everything that Google has about accessibility, I have a link to their accessibility site. It's taken just a minute here. So they're going to show you all different ways that all of their products are built into thinking about helping others out with accessibility. So you can deep dive into that. The last bit that I wanted to make sure that you're aware of on a Chromebook is screencasting abilities. Now, during the pandemic, a lot of companies were giving all kinds of deals. They were making it so that you could do screencasting for free on their products and so on. But Google knew that they needed to be able to build a robust screencasting product within a Chromebook itself. When it first came out, like if you looked at it, if you looked at the early versions of it, you may have been like, yeah, that's there, but it's awful, so I'm not going to use it. But what I wanted you to know is that they've completely overhauled that system. And when you go in to do a screencast, it's now got some pretty cool updates. And the fact that you have got transcription tools, you can annotate over the top of it, and you can share out your screencasts. The beauty of it is that it's not just you that can make a screencast, but it's also students. So I'll show you some of the features.
Class lessons are those we take with us. And now, Chrome OS is helping to make this easier. With Screencast, teachers can record instructional videos or live classes with built-in transcription and translation. Students can also use Screencast to record video reports, presentations, or to access lessons remotely. All recordings are automatically uploaded to Google Drive. Here's how it works. To record a lesson, open the Screencast app on your Chromebook and click New Screencast. This records the speaker's face and voice along with the content on screen. The marker tool allows you to point to and highlight specific parts of your screen while you are presenting. Once the recording is stopped, Screencast transcribes spoken words into text. Both the video and transcript are automatically uploaded to Google Drive for easy sharing within your school domain. When you open the recording, you will see the video on the left and an auto-generated editable transcript on the right. You can also trim the video simply by clicking Skip Section. You can choose to go back and undo these changes later. By clicking the Share button, you'll receive a unique video link to share with your students.
In a nutshell, this screencasting capability has really made it a lot easier, as they said, not only for teachers, but also for students. If you didn't hear some of the main points that she was talking about, not only can you make the screencast and you can annotate over it, but as it comes up with that transcript, you can actually edit your screencast. Again, before it was very basic, and yes, you could do a recording and send it to somebody. The video quality was not great, and it really didn't have any annotation tools, and you could not really edit very well. So if you haven't taken a look at it, I wanted to make sure that you go back and take another look at that. If your district is at the point where you're looking at getting different types of Chromebooks, do take a look at them. Have someone in your IT department get with Google on that, because the types of Chromebooks that they have out now are even more robust than what they were just a few years ago. So to wrap up our time together, I hope that you learned hopefully something new that you did not know that a Chromebook could do, and that you can use the different resources that I've given you today to get you going on a Chromebook.